So the title, Lapsus Calami, means slip of the pen. I'm using that idea not to make a show that focuses on language, but rather as a metaphor for talking about, I suppose, a way of making art where the work leads the making work where the final outcome isn't known at the outset necessarily, or where the unforeseen mistakes or twists and turns that the making process takes one on become part of the work. So that's one of the things that I think I've tried to incorporate within the exhibition. And then the other thing, the other sort of central tenet of the show is about masculinity, and that's a ongoing preoccupation of mine. I've always wanted to look at the broadest possible spectrum of possibilities that are contained within masculinity. And in doing so, I attempt to scrutinize it, undermine it, possibly even celebrate it at times, or look at its antitheses. And so that's what I wanted the show to explore. And then linking it to this idea of like a slip of the pen. The useful thing about being in a curatorial role on this occasion is that it allows me to look at those things a bit more from the outside and through other people's work. The many different media that is included is characteristic of my work as well. I might work in lots of different media, and I'm interested in the points at which a sculpture, say, collapses into a painting, or a painting expands into an installation, or an installation becomes a film, or a sound becomes a performance, and so on and so forth. So there's lots of work in the show that I would argue is expanding the parameters of its own discipline or medium. For example, Bolladay's photographs behind me, they're images, they're just images that exist in the sculptural realm. The oldest work in the show is from the 70s, which is one of the two works by Robert Overby, who's a personal favourite artist of mine. There's some very, very recent work, like Jocelyn's Vagina Rama works, which she makes by moulding around her own vagina and then turning the moulds into model train set style rural landscape. They'll be activated throughout the exhibition by some performative interventions, actually. Many of the artists I know that have shown here are now, part of the historical canon of, say, the 20th century. I have a quite hostile and attritional relationship to history and old-fashionedness and tradition and convention, but I like the battle. So in a way, thinking about that context provides something to grapple with, and is arguably an interesting context and frame for that.